Hi everybody, I'm Kerry Cunningham, host of the Science of B2B podcast. I'm also a former Serious Decisions and Forrester analyst, and I head up research and thought leadership at 6 Sense. So today is going to be one of my favorite episodes. It's entitled, How to Stop Fooling Yourself and Get Ahead in B2B. Somebody that I mentioned in our very first podcast, his name is Richard Feynman. He's the Nobel Prize winning physicist. He did his work in quantum mechanics. He was also the guy who was a drummer, an artist. He drew pictures that he was able to sell under a different name. Fascinating guy. He also had this thing he called Feynman's first principle. Here's what he said. He said, "You must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool." Now he went on to say, so you have to be very careful about that. Right? Very complete instruction. I love that because I know for a fact that I've fooled myself about a lot of things over time, particularly in business, well, maybe everywhere else, particularly instead. But in any case, we all fool ourselves a lot. And as organizations, we can fool ourselves. So how do we avoid fooling ourselves? Well, first of all, what do I mean by that? Well, by fool yourself, I mean having a belief that the answer that you have to a given question about your business and how it's operating, a given solution to a problem that you have, a message that you have for the marketplace about your solutions, an understanding of your competitive position. So your organization has an opinion or a belief about things like that, plus many, many more. How do you know that you're right about that belief? How do you know that you're not fooling yourself about the answer to some of the most important questions that your business faces, some of the most important challenges? Well, that's what this is for. So first of all, one process that I think is very useful to do is when you're running a project where you're going to launch a new product, a new campaign, new messaging, whatever it might be, to conduct a pre-mortem. And a pre-mortem is simply asking the question, if we are looking back at this thing 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months, whatever the appropriate time frame is for you, and we're saying we have failed, we did not achieve what we wanted to achieve, why will that be? What are the things we think today are a threat to allowing us to get what we want to get out of this project for it to be a success? How do we identify those things in advance? So a pre-mortem just does simply that. Identify those things in advance which are going to prevent you or could prevent you from achieving your goals. Second thing, there's a more involved process. And this more involved process is something that I think is a good idea for organizations annually when you're doing your annual planning. Maybe you do it semi-annually, depending upon the conditions, when things change in the marketplace, for instance. This process is a little more involved. Now, both of these processes involve getting your teams together, but then also look for people from outside of your direct team, people who understand your part of the business or your business, but don't have as much of a stake in it as you. And those folks can sometimes be a little more objective. So the first thing we're going to do in this process is we're going to survey or poll those folks, and you're just going to ask them, what are the things that we're fooling ourselves about? So for instance, if you evaluate your demand gen organization based on lead conversion rates, that's not a good answer to how you solve that problem or how you assess the value that your organization is bringing. That might be something that somebody says, we need a better answer for this. If you're using marketing attribution based on MQLs, same thing. Somebody might say, I don't think that's the right way to be measuring that, and they'd be right. Ask those key stakeholders, what are the things that we think we know, that we think we do well, that we think we're good at, places where we think our competitive position is X, Y, Z. That's what you want to elicit from this group. So first step, elicit those responses from the group. When they come back, collate those answers. Now, if you're the person who's running this process, have somebody who's not you collate the answers. We don't want to take things out of this because you don't like them. What we want to do is identify all the possible issues, reduce the duplication in them, clarify some of the language, and then have that list. Because now what you're going to do with the list is you're going to go back to that same group, but now you're going back to them with a list of what everybody contributed. By the way, everybody should be anonymous in this, so they're not worried about what you're going to think. You go back to them with the same list and you ask two questions. The first question is, how important do you think this issue is to the organization? Rate it 1 to 5. And then the second question is, how much confidence do you have in our current answer, our current approach, our current process for this issue, whatever it is. Rate that 1 to 5, with 5 meaning I think we've got a great answer, 1 being we don't have a good answer at all, we have a bad or wrong answer. So you go out and you survey everybody, you get those responses back, you collate the scores, you average them out. Again, we want this to be anonymous so that we're not overvaluing any one individual's response, because that would be one way to fool yourself. And you take a look at those numbers. So you'll have all of the issues that you sent out, you'll have the ratings for importance, and you'll have the ratings for the confidence or the degree to which you think you already have the right answer or right solution. Then you can literally chart those. You can do an XY chart where you have on one side, you have how much confidence you have, and on the other side, you have how much importance. Put the big numbers out of the ends of the axes. And as you chart those questions into the axis, what you'll see is that there may be some where you have a very important issue, but you have very low confidence as an organization or as a team that you have the right answer. That's a problem, right? Really important thing where the organization's not sure you've got the best answer or the best solution. Better go find out. That could, for instance, be competitive positioning. We think we're in a really strong position against this competitor for this solution. Well, that's what our organizational belief has been, but now when I ask people individually, they say, no, that's not the case. We don't have confidence that we're still competitively in a strong position, right? Those are the things that you can find out. So when you do this process, which I'll readily admit is a little bit of a pain to administer, but once you do this, you're going to have a set of issues that the organization should probably be concerned about, especially all of those ones that are rated as important. You may find that the organization, while one person who you asked said, I don't have confidence in this answer, the rest of the organization thinks you do. And that could be something in a staff meeting, in a team meeting, that you could raise for discussion. In fact, all of them are. Where you have issues where it's pretty clear that the organization has an important issue and agrees that your current solution or answer is not good, that you don't have confidence that it's the best one that you could have, then you probably are going to want to have some action items around that. And that's really all there is to it. It's about identifying those potential gotchas coming down the road before they actually get the gotcha. All right, so I hope you find that helpful, and we'll catch you next time on the Science of B2B. Thanks.